game-changing discussions on the big ideas that shape our thinking. This is One2One.
She's a legend of stage and screen, a pioneer whose artistry has shaped generations of Nigerian performers. From the theatre halls of Lagos to international film sets, Joke Silva has carried the torch for excellence, integrity, and purpose in storytelling. Joke Silva, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Tokunbo. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful to have you. The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're an absolute legend, an icon in the industry. The personality that comes to mind is Dame Judi Dench.
Ooh, I love. As we say in the Christianese, I claim.
Yeah. That's
Thank you so much.
That's right. And they've been giving you antecedents on stage as well. Judi Dench and Rebirth, that damn spot.
Yes, out down spot. Yes.
You of course have a background in stage.
Yes. I
we will talk about that.
Yes, okay.
As well, extensively.
Yes, I do.
But can I begin by asking the question, how early in your life did you become convinced that you wanted to act? And what inspired that decision?
That I wanted to. That would be during my A-levels. I mean, I'd been acting as a kid and all that, but it was during a period in my A-levels when I had come to a crossroads, and I did what we say, again in Christianese, I put out a fleece before the Lord, and I said, Lord, that you need to answer this question. This question has to be a yes, this has to be a yes, this has to be a yes. If you say yes to all these, then I will then I know that this is the path that you want for me. And that was because I wanted to be a medical doctor like my mom. All right. My mom was almost like my demigod. And I wanted to be a medical doctor like her, but I was useless at the sciences. I failed chemistry. I hated biology. I was good in physics, but I then dropped physics so that I could take English.
Right.
Yes, and I actually got into Loughborough and I got into Warwick. Both universities said, okay, if you can just get a B in your English, whether you get whatever you get in the others, it's okay.
They would let you into medicine.
Yes, they would. They would. No, they would not medicine. I would then get into theatre. Into theatre arts because they realized that I wasn't. Medicine wasn't for me, But by the time I started applying to the universities, but so because I was that, was I going to go into medicine? Was I going to go do theatre? That's why I laid out that fleece because we had, you had these exams in England at the time, very much like music exams. So I laid out the fleece for the Lord. I passed everything that I got a yes for everything. And I guess if we're looking at what was the inspiration, I will always point to Auntie Bidun Allison, the amebo of village headmaster. Now, I will always, honestly, because I sit down as a little girl, I'm watching village headmaster. And, there is amebo. Not tell them, say, me tell you, and she's going her usual way, the image gossip.
And that word just entered into the lexicon.
Exactly. Exactly. Amebo was the person who was the gossip. And then she's being interviewed. I can't even remember which program it was, but it was on NTA. She was being interviewed. And the standard English that she spoke incredibly impeccable.
I remember.
And she was so eloquent.
Yes.
And I said to myself, oh my word, this is it. I want to be this, But because we also had quite a few people around the family who were in the business, and we knew how hard it was, so I was kind of like, I needed the Lord to tell me that this is where it's, because if I didn't have that, when the challenges did come, I have a feeling that I wouldn't have stayed, because it's tough. Yeah.
And I can imagine that Bibido Allison, I'm a boy, embodied so much for you, because there was also Elsie Olushola.
Yes, there was
Clara.
Yes, but you see, the thing is that Auntie Elsie had seen in real life afterwards. All right, and Auntie Elsie really didn't speak pidgin. She spoke normal English, Yes, and I mean she could switch. She code switched. But Auntie Bidun, that for me was just so incredible. Yeah. And then the fact that when she was talking about attending Guildhall School of Drama. She had gone to drama school, So, for me, that really was the inspiration. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
pure, impeccable. No code switching there.
No.
Yeah, I remember her very well.
Yes.
So you trained at the Webber Douglas Academy in London.
Yes.
How did that grounding in theatre shape your approach to acting on screen?
I think what theatre does for you as a performer is that it first of all, once you can get away from the bigness of theatre, because theatre is it's huge, it's large, and the camera is very intimate
and full of larger than life characters, like you.
The camera is very intimate. So when you move away from that technique of bigness to something more intimate, right? Once you can master that, I think what theatre then brings to the camera, there's a kind of extra, I believe. I mean, you find all theatre practitioners say that, a depth to performance that you would find that non-theatre people hardly have, They're very used to the intimacy of the character.
Yeah.
But the theatre practitioner is so used to delving into why a character is like this, I guess just trying to get to the kernel of the character. Yes, that's what I think.
Of course, and I'm particularly interested in that. I started this conversation by saying, actually, what the image you conjure up for me is
Judy Dench. I think that is such an incredible compliment. Thank you.
And that it's what she brings from an early background
in theatre. Yes. And you know the amazing thing about Dame Judy Dench was that she was in theatre for so long, and I think she did television. She did a bit of television, but it was mostly theatre until well into her 60s. And yes, and then film work started coming.
Oh, in the 60s, is that when it happened?
Yes.
Oh, see.
She did mostly television, TV series. Oh God, I'm trying to
there was them, on TV,
but she was on TV and a lot of theatre. And then film came. Yeah.
And there is that pattern amongst established British actors. I've been thinking about Emma Thompson as well.
Yes.
I mean,
she's amazing.
She is. She's incredibly amazing. You see Patrick Stewart on screen. Well, you don't see him when he disappears to play Othello.
Exactly.
He can recap.
Yeah. And I think, and it's something that I say to a lot of my students, that try and explore all the platforms of performance, because it gives you longevity. Because if you're not getting work on film, then make sure you're getting work on stage. If you're not getting work on stage, make sure you're getting work in voice performance, Just explore all the platforms. Yeah.
And these people are not simply transitioning from one background to another. Toby Jones is playing Iago in the West End.
Okay.
As we
Yes.
speak.
Yes.
And these people are, that's the life you live.
Yes.
I suppose. But but your point is it gives you that depth coming across. So I'm interested in that. Let's talk about our own industry.
Okay.
Let's talk about our movie industry, Nollywood. I mean, people like you have carried Nollywood on your shoulders. I mean, the entire industry stands on the shoulders of people like you, and that background and stage is what you've just, the depth it gives you is what you've just eloquently described. But do you feel that there's something missing now? Do you feel that Nollywood misses out on that stronger connection with stage? And is that translating into an absence of depth?
I do. I believe so very much. I think, first of all, it affects the writing. You'll find that, good writers who have a good background in stage writing, there's just there's a certain layer of gravitas that they bring to the work, and then when you go from that into writing for television, then you let the language becomes minimal. Language becomes very you use language when necessary, and you look for you articulate specifically for the character that you're writing for the camera. You find that when people do not have that background, they tend to be very less, the writing is very watery, doesn't convey that much.
That's euphemism for it's rubbish.
No, you won't find me saying that because
euphemisms are very helpful.
Because I find that one thing my husband always says is that there's no script that is absolutely useless. There's always something to salvage from it, and he'll work and keep working at it and salvage it. But I think we're getting more work in the theatre now. There was a time when theatre kind of totally collapsed, and we're getting it back slowly but surely. There's a lot of work that Bolanle Austin Peters is doing. There's a lot of work that Duke of Shomolu is doing. We do some work. We're hoping to give another platform to the classics of Nigeria. So we're looking at the Oshofi songs, we're looking at the Ahmeds, we're looking at, all the tried and tested writers, for the simple reason that we believe that our children need to know that they exist. We all know that we're very lucky with Wole Soyinka. He's global. He's everybody's property. And so it would be really remiss of us if if our children do not know Wole Soyinka. But a lot of them don't know an Oshofi song. They don't know Wale Ogunyemi. They don't, so many of our writers, it says to some of them, talk to them about J.P. Clark, and they're like, okay, J.P. Clark, who is that? And, and they're not even only our own tried and tested writers, but what about those of the continent? There are works from across the continent that we're just not, that we need to let this generation, a younger generation, a generation younger than us, know about these writers.
Yes. And there's such richness in what has gone before. We do have a responsibility to preserve.
Exactly.
Amazing works. As you were talking, I remembered the Bojo De.
Yes.
I mean, it'd be a criminal not to preserve that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and even when we talk about Wole Soyinka, a lot of people really don't even know all his works. They'll talk about Kongi's Harvest simply because it carries his name, his nickname, Kongi, but excuse me, I mean, a dance of a forest, that they just swamp dwellers, that Bacchae of the Euripides. So much work.
So much work is done quietly over the years. And it's a very good time in this conversation, therefore, to talk about a symbol, something that does embody this period that we are, and the entire discourse, really. There is, of course, that hat-shaped edifice sitting in the middle of Gomu.
Yes.
The National Theatre.
Yes.
Every nation ought to have a National Theatre.
Yes.
And you talked about the dip in the glorious era of the theatre.
Yes.
Perhaps coincided very nicely with the deterioration, the dilapidation of the National Theatre.
It did.
Talk to me a bit about that.
Yes.
And whether or not you expect a renaissance now that we have a new National Theatre.
Okay. So I can tell you about, I was very lucky. I was very blessed to have worked in the glorious state of the National Theatre. I'm talking about the late 80s into 1981. I performed Jero's Metamorphosis, Wole Soyinka's Jero's Metamorphosis, which really didn't have much to do with Trials of Brother Jero, even though they seem to have the same hero. It's a much more political play. Trials of Brother Jero is very much of a comedy, a poking fun at the celestial arm of Christianity, just having fun and domestic life and things like that. But Jero's Metamorphosis was very much about the military politics. That was what Jero's Metamorphosis was about. It was an incredible piece of work. We did that in 1981, and then we also did Nigeria's 21st anniversary at in both these plays I'm talking about were in the main bowl of the National Theatre, and at that time the revolving stage it worked, and we worked for a long time there. However, I can also say something else about the National at the time. The National had cinema. A lot of our people went to the National Theatre to watch films.
I was going to go there with you next.
Yes.
So carry on.
Now, and there was a time when Pao Gunde transitioned into film and they put Aye on film. The National, and it was always in the National Theatre. Absolutely. I mean, everybody knew.
Absolutely.
Everybody knew not to go to the National Theatre when Pao Gunde was showing a film. Don't bother putting anything else, and nobody else ever bothered.
Big, and it was National Theatre.
And then it was, you had people queuing. You used to have like 3 or 4 shows in a day. And people, for each show, there was a queue right onto the streets, because people just, I remember one of the reasons why the main bowl was actually shut down, apart from later on it caved in, but before then, it was that the crowd were so insistent on getting in to watch Aye that they broke the doors. They broke the door down. That amount of people. And working in the main bowl, even with drama, not film, with drama, we used to have, the hall was full. That 3,000, almost 4,000 seater was full, always. I mean, we didn't have all these gizmos. It was just NTA and the theater. But then after that, when we couldn't use the main bowl that much for anymore, we then used the cinema halls for theater. And there was a time when Power Guni was actually showing a film. And it wasn't Taye. I don't know what he was showing at the time. And we were performing Olu's play, Holy Child, a musical that he wrote in English, and we were performing in the cinema hall, and we got an audience. And so Power Guni now came to see us himself, Adelov. They came to see us in the cinema hall. Have been asking, who is it that's diverting some of the audience? Who is? And then it turns out that they knew each other from London. Yes, Olu had been the voice on a documentary that the BBC had done on him. So they had worked together, or they had kind of collaborated together on that work. So he was so happy to see Olu at the time. So then at the time we did so many plays in the cinema hall, sitting like over 750 people. And a lot of times when we did our plays, and it was standing room only. It was theater. But what tended to happen was that the theater, you'd get sponsors who would sponsor a show, and they would bring in, okay, you say the air conditioning is not working, they'll bring in air conditioning. They'll buy new air conditioners. The next play they're going to do, those air conditioners have gone.
They've just gone.
To where?
You swept.
And then also sometimes when you came in as an independent producer, and you wanted to do a show, all of a sudden somebody would say, the person who's putting on the lights would say he has to be seen. You see him. Then when you want to do your afternoon show, the person, it's a different person who has to be seen. Otherwise, you are not going to get. It just became so ridiculous that people looked for other places to work. And I must confess, during Uncle Bayo Dune's time, during Ahmed Yarima's time, both of them tried so hard to keep the theater working, to keep, to keep interest in the theater. I remember Ahmed Yarima very specifically just trying to renovate with the little he had. And it was an uphill task. It really needed a huge injection of funds. And so the new refurbished National Theatre is so amazing.
You say that with so much.
Yeah, I know. You need to have, because one knew it in its glory days. One knew what it embodied.
Yeah.
The National Theatre, it has the floor in the VIP section is of green granite. All right, the tiles are green granite. Right now, bringing together those tiles is brass. Can you imagine brass on the floor? The covering of the doors of the lift are brass, embossed brass. The pillars around the National Theatre are carvings by Fakeye, people from Edo. You have, and then the stained glass window is by Grillo. Do you get? And then on the outside, you have mosaic by Emokpai.
Oh.
Yeah. So that they, all the time when they were trying to, either buy it over or knock it down, a group of us, various people, the practitioners would protest, first of all, that you can't. This is a theatre and it must remain a theatre. It must remain a place for creative. For the creative industry. So there were always protests. And then I would take, if somebody wants to do this, knock it down, I'll say, okay, wait, let me take you around. And I'll take them around and I'll say, this is this, this is this, this is this. And by then they'll say, okay, we can't. There's no way we can knock this down. How can we work? How can we preserve it? And this refurbishment, honestly, the bankers committee needs to be given, I don't know how many medals. Not only for pumping money. It's easy to pump money. Do you get? Yeah. But to preserve.
Yeah. That requires an understanding to begin with.
Exactly. They preserved, the way they preserved Grillo's works, because, if anything happens to those stained glass windows, we lose them. And we cannot replace them. Pa Grillo has passed on. It's like Fakeye, they've passed on. All of them, all the masters that were a part and parcel of that building, they've all passed on. We cannot afford to replicate what we have there, So I really appreciate the understanding of the preservation. And then, not only did they preserve it, they've also then expanded on the vision. So when you walk in through Simran Hall, let's say entrance C of the National Theatre, you have this long lines of light, which actually are reminiscent of our tribal marks.
Oh, I see.
Do you understand? Yes. So there's that, it's a continuous flow. You get, and so I really appreciate what they've done a lot. So the thing is, there's a line from one of my husband's plays that we must make sure we do everything possible to never make it necessary for anybody to have to go through that journey of refurbishing the National Theatre ever again. So we have to make sure that we keep it vibrant and we keep it well maintained.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we started this by talking about the National Theatre as being symbolic, emblematic of the roots of your industry.
Yes.
But actually, you're also speaking about our cultural foundations.
Yeah.
You're speaking about society, what makes us who we
are. Exactly. Can you see all those artists that they're bringing together? They're Christian, they're Muslim, they're followers of the traditional religion. They're from different parts of Nigeria. All of them, all their works are embedded in that.
Absolutely.
Theater. Yes.
And that's representative of you're talking about what an elite cultural society with understanding should be.
Should be. I love that. Yeah. I love that. That's the emphasis on should. Yes.
Absolutely. So the refurbished National Theatre stands as a picture of that.
Yes.
However, Lady Joke, it has come back into existence amidst the changed Nigeria.
Yes.
There have been security issues. Everyone from all over Lagos, all over the country, everyone was happy to troop into Igomo in those days. It may not be quite the same now. Plus, you and I can have this conversation very happily and it makes us so glad. But actually, we've moved on in this society. Society has become increasingly populist, hasn't it? With not much of an appreciation of many of the things you've talked about. The foundation of this restoration is understanding. Have we become a changed people? And if so, what chance does the newly refurbished National Theatre have, therefore?
Phew. Now, you've kind of put so many questions together in one. Let's say it's a very robust question. Let me deal with the security, the one on security first. Like I said, we manage the Global Memorial Hall. Now, Global Memorial Hall is bang in the middle of Lagos Island. It has incredible heritage, incredible history. and a lot of people don't even know it's there. It's one of the best kept secrets of Lagos Island. You know, when people come in there, they're like, oh, wow, and oasis of sanity in this madness. But what's interesting about the Glover Memorial Hall is that surrounding it are some of the top banking headquarters. So you have the Central Bank, you have NGX, you have Union Bank on one side, you have First Bank behind us, you have, further down the road, there's Sterling Bank, further down on the other side, you have UBA, So one of the things that tells you is that area is secure. That area is secure. Now, what is also interesting is that it's also very serene. It's a very serene place. So why do I mention that? There is perception, which a lot of times people say is reality and is not. All right. So there is also perception of the National Theatre it is in Igomu. Now, I must say, I'm not really sure whether it's Lagos state government now or whether it's federal government, but the governments, all right? I know it's Lagos state government with the rail line. So National Theatre has its stop.
It does. Yeah.
There's a National Theatre stop on the rail, and that's Lagos state government, okay?
Right. That is Lagos.
Now, around the National Theatre, there's been a lot of clearing of the shanty towns that were around that. And I know what I'm saying because I worked in those shanty towns from church. We used to work in the slums, go to, those slums and, for people, worked with people who had fallen through the cracks. Those areas have been cleared up now. So around the National Theatre is actually very safe. And the beauty of the National Theatre is that the parking space around the National Theatre, under the National Theatre is immense.
Yes.
All right. So there's parking, there's, and there's good presence of security operatives around the place. So to be honest with you, it is safer, much more secure than people believe. Yeah.
Good.
So there's that. Then when we talk about how that it's populist. Now, when I hear populist, I hear of the great divide between the 1% of the 1% and then the remaining 99.9%. That's what I hear when I hear populism. And I really find that if you program your work properly, you will get that 99% because they are more cultured than we realize. We actually find that the 1% of the 1% are probably the most uncultured. Forgive me.
Because redefine the intelligentsia.
No, because they tend to be very outward looking, not inward looking. They are very, there's a sense that everything non-Nigerian is better than everything Nigerian. Whereas the 9%, the 99%, a lot of them, out of the 99%, you'll probably find about 70% who believe that Nigeria is the best thing since sliced bread.
That's true.
Yeah. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
So it's a matter of curating your programming properly to taking their interests to, and people will, there's nobody, honestly, whether it's of the 99% or it's of the 1% who has ever been into the newly refurbished National Theatre, who is not like, what? You mean we have this, whether it's children, whether it's adults. Adults are like, it's possible for Nigeria to be able to restore. That's what adults say, Children are like, wow, you mean we have this? And they're just so, they're so grateful that they have something of which they can be very proud.
We should actually acknowledge that the new National Theatre is now named after Wole
Professor Wole Soyinka, yes.
Actually,
Yes.
Mr. Personal,
Yes,
okay. Remember that in this conversation. And you mentioned Pa Hubert Ogunde earlier and Ade Love. They paved the way for several productions on screen there. Omoru, a number of others there as well. So such a versatile environment, wasn't it? And side by side with that, you're showing a foreign film as well.
Yes.
I went to see Saturday Night Fever.
Okay.
The Star is Born.
Okay.
There at the same time, there are other things going on, and then Bruce later on was bringing
the acts. Yes.
Amazing. Is
Yes.
that the sort of picture that you see being restored going forward?
Oh,
That
yes.
versatility.
Yes, that versatility, but just like in those days when we saw a lot of Nigerian films and our people trooped in to see Nigerian films, I look forward to the time when that will also happen with the new refurbished National Theatre, where we will have foreign films, definitely, because we're not an isolated country, but we will have African cinema, we will have Nigerian cinema, and then we will have global cinema. I think that and it needs to flip, because right now what we're doing is that we're doing a lot of it's almost like 40, 60 foreign, 40 Nigerian, I think. And that has to flip. It has to more 40, 60 or 70 in favor of Nigeria, in favor of African film, African cinema, and then global.
Sure.
Yes, that for me is what I'd like to see. Yeah,
I think actually that it has already flipped. We had Moses Babatope on the show a little while ago, and he's of the view, and the figures are there. By far, the majority of content consumed in cinemas in Nigeria now, local content, actually.
Okay, but but then they have prime time. A lot of prime time is given to foreign content.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
I see.
So I believe we need to flip it. Yes, the audience is for Nigerian content. You really have to have really amazing technical foreign content to draw our audience. Yeah,
that's true. And it's a good time to pivot to Nollywood and Nigerian cinema.
Yes.
Indeed.
Nigerian cinema, African cinema. Yes,
that's right.
Because there's a lot going on the continent.
Yes.
It's good quality work.
I'm sure.
That I think is important for us to see as well. And even work around the diaspora as well. Yes.
And I'm totally unrepentant in saying that people like you carry Nollywood on their shoulders.
Amen.
There is no doubt about it. But I'd like you to hark back to the rough and tumble early days of Nigerian cinema, and talk to me about what it was like making film then, and what lessons that era taught you.
Okay, I think
it's stayed with you.
I think what's beautiful about what you're saying now is that I can actually explain where my position is in this industry as of now. Yes. Is that I kind of was standing on the shoulders of some incredible giants. I was like the link between then and the new generation. That was my own position, so we actually came from television, unlike other film industries. Other film industries were theater, film, television. We were theater, television, film. Yes.
That makes sense.
So television really influenced our filmmaking culture.
So TV midwifed.
Yes, it was from TV. We then dovetailed into film, and I'm just coming from Kule Afolayo's incredible studio, Cap Film Village in Oyo State.
Yes,
and
it has horses.
The 41 expecting to become 21 because a lot of them are pregnant right now. But apart from the animals there, it's just the topography, the space and the serenity, and it's a perfect getaway for so much. I'm so happy that he's been able to. Coming from a filmmaking family, his father Adelov, he's coming from that tradition of filmmaking, and so he embodies it, and it's just fitting that he has a place like that is impacting the economy of Komu and Bojai of Oyo State, and the governor is so very cooperative, and is getting the road, making sure that the road is done, bringing electricity. So it's fantastic. But we were having a conversation recently whilst I was there. There was a production that was done by Olabalogun. That's it. Olabalogun was one of the earliest directors of our films. So now it's really interesting because Nigeria started out, like I said, it was theater, television, especially Yoruba traveling theater, and then television. This was in the southwest, middle, and in the north, it was always Indian films were a huge part of entertainment for them. We had Indian films in the south as well, but it was mixed with Western and all that, So now it was taking just making a film, and Olabalogun took it to the theater, and Nigerians went to watch. It wasn't a foreign film, and Nigerians were okay. And he had approached Ogunde that to put Ogunde's works on film. Ogunde had put some of his work on television, but to now put it on film, he was skeptical, and it was proper celluloid. It was celluloid films, and anyway, he tried him out with a particular film, and wow, okay. That's how they got to do Aye, Arukwintin, and all, and all the others, And so we were working with celluloid, and then there came the downturn in the economy. And at the same time as we had videos and all that, and we embraced the new technology. It was cheaper for us to tell our stories, to the point that Semben said Nollywood has made it possible for Africa to tell its stories, So we went from that tradition of celluloid to taking on the new technology of home video, and then from home video to digital. Yeah.
So you described a transition.
Yes.
Of course, theatre in our own context, to TV.
Everywhere.
And
it all started with theatre. Yes.
So TV.
And then we went to TV, others went to film first, and then they went to TV. Yes.
And you've also described yourself in explaining that as one who stands in connecting the old with the new.
Yes.
Are you perhaps speaking about people like Taiwo Ajayi?
Yes.
I can't resist.
Yes.
The jaw.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yes, and
of course we do.
Yes, and they were of that tradition. They came from that. So they those are the shoulders on which one stands. On the shoulders of people like Auntie Bido, Auntie Taiwo, and sometimes, a lot of times I always forget to, that Auntie Taiwo is actually of that generation, because Auntie Taiwo goes, she's gone round the world with us, performing and she's well into her 80s, very, still very sprightly, and so you kind of think that she's of our generation, but she's not.
No, she's not. She's ageless.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
I
really seen her, and some mothers do have
them. Yes. And Adetiba has. I really said, I sent her a message to say thank you. Capturing Auntie Taiwo in all her glory in King of Boys. Auntie Taiwo has a beautiful cameo in King of Boys, and it's resplendent. It's beautiful. Yes. So yes, I guess that's it. You're standing on those shoulders, and taking, accepting the responsibility of and appreciating the work that they did.
Yes.
The work they did, how hard it was, and and saying that, well, hopefully the next generation, and they're definitely the much younger ones, are not finding it half as difficult as we did. There's so much more work, which is good. Yes.
So we've talked about transitioning from theatre to TV to screen. But I'd like to pick up one contemporary example that's gone from theatre to screen. Eleshoba, Death of Kings, that stage production, actually in the flesh, on screen. Talk to me about that style and portrayal.
Death and the King's Horseman, an amazing work. For a lot of people, it's Professor Wole Soyinka's seminal work. It's his, the language, the imagery, for a lot of people, it's a culmination of his speaking Yoruba in incredible English, and where the English doesn't cover, he creates a word, and it's still on my bucket list to play Yaloja. I haven't played the Yaloja yet.
Played beautifully, by the way, in that movie.
Yes, by Shafi. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And it was such a beautiful work produced by Ebony Life, Muabudu. It was so beautifully done. Yes. Everything was so beautifully done. From the least part to the major part. It was nice to see the vibrancy. All right. The vibrancy of that time, the vibrancy of the cultures, and Eleshoba, I think will always speak to us, because it really is a timeless piece on the human condition.
Indeed.
On the human condition, on how sometimes because of a little pleasure, all right, because of a little gain, not even pleasure, but a little gain, we refuse to think of the consequences of what we do. And you can actually fit it into so much that we do even now. Some of the decisions that we make, so people are saying that I can mine mineral resources of my state. I can get people from outside to support me in doing that without giving anything to my state, without giving anything to my nation, because of what I will get. And I think that makes me the head honcho in charge. not realizing that sets my people back several decades, And so it's that's what Election for me, it's one of the themes of Election that we need to. The human condition, sometimes we feel that, just a moment of happiness, just for one day, but sometimes that one day of happiness, the repercussions of it are, immense. Exactly. And so that's the kernel of it. And also sometimes you feel that sense of when the Western powers, he also deals with that.
Yes, he does.
Wole Soyinka deals with that as that, that lack, that belief of the West, that they are educating.
Yeah, the imperial.
Yes, that they are educating the
natives.
The natives, that they are educating the continent, that without their colonization, where would the continent be?
They come to civilize us.
Yes, and Wole Soyinka addresses that with that, hey, you're getting it all twisted. We actually are civilizing you. We are humanizing you, because you did not come to humanize. You are not humane. You were not human in some of your decision making.
Yes.
It was everything you did was transactional.
Ruthless in many cases.
Ruthlessly transactional. There was nothing that they brought with it, but a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, whereas you're coming to a people who are actually trying to humanize you. Yeah.
Accepting you with open arms.
With open arms. So you find that, there are just so many things that are there. And, the film, when you look at the film, the casting of it, the colors of it, B did an amazing job. It was sad that he passed away when he did, but I'm glad that he was able to give us Death and the King's Horseman on film.
Yeah. Absolutely. And in case of the central character, it was actually the loss of purpose. That's it. He lost the ability to fulfill the reason he was born, the reason he was there.
Yes, but that's what we're saying.
That's exactly what you're saying.
That's what we're saying.
Exactly,
that thing of,
but for a little pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
For a few billions of nairas, or even billions of dollars.
Sell out your people, your purpose, your identity, your destiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is the human condition. It is something that you will say, there, but for the grace of God, go I. And I think that's why Wole Soyinka wrote this, that it's something that we are all capable of. Let's be cautious. Yes.
You and your dear husband,
yes,
Olu Jacobs,
yes,
have built a partnership over the years.
Yes.
Both personal and professional.
Yes.
And observing you in this conversation, I'm not sure if you're aware, from time to time, you've dipped into your years of working together much earlier as well.
Yes.
And together you have inspired generations.
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you.
Now tell me, what precisely is the ingredient? What has sustained that balance, and how has your relationship enriched your own personal journey over the years? Wow.
Two people who like each other. I think it's a very difficult question to answer, because you're living it. So a lot of times you don't know what it is. It's not as if we're very good friends who argue a lot, who respect each other's opinions, always wanting to hear each other's opinions on issues, who have learned. It wasn't something we arrived at, we had at the beginning, but we've learned over the years to look out for the other person, for what is best for the other person.
Sounds like a marriage.
Yeah. Yes, we learned that. And, working together, has always been wonderful because we're very good at what is it now? Yeah, sparking each other. Yes, when we work together.
Sparring partners as well.
Yes, of just energizing the other person, and then at some point in our lives, it got to a point where he had the ideas of, oh, we need to set this up, we need to do this, we need to do, and I'll say, okay, I'll go ahead and I'm setting it up, and then he's the one, but he's on location working, and things like that. And after a while, he would come back and they say, okay, I think the next, I'll say, no, we're not doing any more setting up or anything. But whatever we set up now, that's it. Let's make these ones thrive and function. If we're going to set up anything, you come and do. So, yeah. It's been a great working relationship, and we've been lucky. We've been lucky in our personal relationships as well. Very lucky,
of course. So, Lady Joke Silva.
Nice title. Thank you.
Speaking of titles, I'll come back to that in a minute. But across 4 decades on stage and screen, I'd like to know, when have you felt the most alive? And what would you say has been the defining highlight of your career?
Oh, I really need to think, because I get asked this question and I never know what answer to give, because I love performing, in theater. I really do. It's something that I find so, especially when I hit the character, when I finally get the character, to just be able to embody that character and offer her to the audience and say, here she is, here's this person. And, being in collaboration with other storytellers because it's a very collaborative industry, and where you're with other, and everybody gets, they finally, everybody has found their character, and then we're performing and we're offering it, everything, the director's work, the costume, everything, we're offering it to the audience and getting the response from the audience, who are the final, the final ceiling of it. I don't know if anybody can describe it. It's to be able to get that, for any part. It's fantastic.
And that's your sweet spot right there. And speaking of characters, you are precisely what the Irish would describe as a character.
Am I?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Larger than life.
Really?
People are a real force of nature.
Oh, thank you.
And speaking of titles, we have heard Madame Joke Silva, Lady Joke Silva.
I've had so many.
Okay. We started out this conversation with me saying to you, it's Dame Judy Dench is the person you remind me of.
I know. And I think that is so wonderful because, she's had a long career. Yeah. She's had a career, the kind of career that I really pray to the Lord that I'll have, because she's in her 90s now. Yeah. And, she's played the gamut of some of the most amazing roles, whether when she was younger to when so I honestly claim it. I claim it. Herself, Maggie Smith in Downton Abbey. She was,
she died.
Yes, recently. Yes.
So therefore,
yes,
Dame Joke Silva. Thank you.
I think I have the Nigerian version.
Thank you for joining us on One2One.
Thank you for having
me. A real
me.
pleasure.
God bless
you. God bless you. Thank you. Pleasure.